Om Shruti-Smriti-Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-Padam Shankaram Loka-Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra-Bhashya-Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti-Bheda-Vibhagine व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हम सच शुचि सत
हम सच
वसु अंतरिक्ष सत
अंतरिक्ष सत
ओता वेदिशत
योता वेदिशत
अतिथिः दुरोण सत
अतिथि दुरोण सत
निषत् वरसत
निषद्वरसत्
ऋतसत
श्रुत सत
व्योमसत
व्योम सत
अब्जा गोजा ऋतजा
अब्जा गोजा ऋतजा
अद्रिजा ऋतं बृहत्।
अद्रिजा ऋतं बृहत्।
So many different things. In fact, I noticed there are three types of things he talks about. Atma in the form of something in something is the first type. Hamsaha Shuchishat and others like that. Then there are others which is Drishat, Varasat, Ritasat, etc. Atma in the form of all human beings, all devatas, etc. And then there's a third category, Abja, Goja, Ritaja, etc. All things born of something else within this Jagat. So all categories of things is nothing but Atma in that form. This is what the mantra is trying to establish. That there is only one Vastu, one Satyam, one Atma that appears as so many. In fact, as we were reading the mantras, you see later somewhere it says, everything it starts in saying Rupam, Bhaurupam, Bhayam. Everything becomes manifold. Looks like there are so many things. There is only one Atma. Remember, this whole Valli started with an imagery of the whole Sharira as an assemblage, as a Pura. And any assemblage, there is a Swami, for whom every component of the assemblage does whatever activities it does. Not for any single component of the assemblage, not for the total assemblage, but for something different from the assemblage. That is what we established in the very first mantra. And then we went on to look at this saying that in every Sharira, that one which is different from the Sharira is the Atma for which everything seems to work. And to clear any possible doubt that there are many Atmas in this verse, in this mantra, the Shruti amply makes it clear that there can only be one Vastu, one Satyam, Sarvameva Sarvavyapi Eka Atma Eva. Only one Atma. And it goes about doing this by saying Atma in the form of the sun appears in the sky, in the form of air appears in the Antariksha and so on. We looked at that. Hamsaha is the first word in this. Comes from the Han Dhatu, which itself has two meanings. Hinsa Gatyoho. The very root of meaning of that is Himsa Gatyoho. It includes both destruction and Gati, movement. So here, you can look at both and both will fit here. And I like the way Shankaracharya always picks it up. The Shradildra, we've seen the meaning of Upanishad. How he fits all the three meanings of Shradildra to fit the Upanishad. Similarly here, Hanti, yes. Kim Hanti? Andhakaram Hanti. Ajnanam Hanti. So Hanti also fits from that perspective. And Gati Shabda also fits in. Gati fits in better in terms of the second word. It says Hamsaha Shuchi Sat. Shuchi is the faultless or pure Akasha. In the Akasha, it moves. Of course, we say that many things move in the Akasha, all the planets, all the stars, but here it refers to sun. Sun has a very, very special place in our, in many places you will see sun depicted as a presiding deity, as a devata, but also shown as that which dispels ignorance, and therefore often equated to Atma. In fact, if you look at your Gayatri mantra, you can interpret it at two levels. Gayatri mantra can be seen where Savitu is the sun, but you can see the sun as a presiding deity, or you can see it as the formless Atma. Both you can read into the Gayatri mantra. When people start learning the Gayatri mantra, easier and simpler method is to give them the meaning of the word Savitu as the presiding deity, the one that keeps all life alive in this Jagat, one which nourishes everything. So in that sense, it can be seen, but can also be seen as Paramatma, Brahman. So Hamsa, we saw, Bhashyakara says, Hanti Gacchati iti, both meanings is given. Shuchi Sat. Shuchi is, Akasha is referred to as Shuchi. Akasha cannot be tainted. Nothing taints the Akasha, so it's called Shuchi also. Shuchau, in that untainted Divi, all Saptami, Aditya Atmana Sidayati. This Aditya, Surya Bhagavan, exists as, or is seated as, in that Antariksha, in that Akasha. So one should look at it in the form of saying, everything in the Akasha and all its contents. Its space is also defined as that which can hold anything. So anything in Akasha and anything in the Akasha is nothing but Atma. Shuchisat, Shuchau, Divi, Aditya Atmana, Sidayati. Sidayati means seats itself, resides, stays. Same Sadhudra Dhatu. And from Akasha it comes to Vayu, Vasuhu. Vasuhu is Vayu. And our Bhashyakara very nicely says, Vasayati Sarvan iti Vayu. That which enlivens everything is Vayu. All living beings are dependent on Vayu. That same Vayu which makes every being alive, which keeps every being alive, that Sukshma component which is representative of all Sukshma components, which gives life to everything, that Vayu, Vasayati Sarvan iti Vayu, that Vayu Atmana Antarikshe Sidayati. Antarikshasat, in the atmosphere, beyond the atmosphere, which I think is 60 kilometers, something like that, above the earth, there is no atmosphere after that. So when our Shastras talk about Antariksha and Akasha as separate entities, they probably knew what science came to know later. So that's why when spaceships come down, one of the biggest problems with spaceships is when it enters the atmosphere. Till then, there's no atmosphere. Suddenly, when it enters the atmosphere, friction burns it. So they have to have all kinds of fire-resistant covering on top of the spaceship when it lands back. So the antariksha, where air is there, atmosphere is there, in that atmosphere also is the same air which keeps every being alive. Therefore, Vayu Atmana Antarikshe Sidayati. So you already taken Akasha and everything in the Akasha, everything in the Antariksha and the atmosphere and everything in the atmosphere. Here we representatively say Vayu. Then Akasha is done, Vayu is done. The next is Agnihi. Hota, Agnihi. Hota is said to be Agni. Now you can see how it is developing. Hota is Agni, Bhashyakara says. How do you say Hota is Agni? Hota is often referred to the Brig Pandita, the one who conducts the Yajna. But he says Hota is Agni, and he quotes some Upanishad which we have not heard of, Chityupanishad. Agnirvai Hota. Hota is Agni. He takes it from there and shows that here when the Shruti says Hota, it means Agni. So Akasha, Vayu, Agni. So iti Shrutehe. Agnirvai Hota iti Shrutehe. Quotes from them. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, all comes in the next action should be Apaha, but takes to Prithvi. Vedyam. Vedya, Vedi technically means the space in which the Yajna Kunda is kept. Around the Yajna Kunda, what is called Vedi. So in that Vedi, on that earth, so he interprets it as Vedyam Prithivyam, on the earth. Sidati iti Vedishat. So Akasha, Vayu, Agni and Prithvi. And sorry about that. On the Prithvi, therefore, Vedishat, Vedyam Sidayati iti Vedishat. Yam Vedihi, there also again, how do you say this Vedi interprets as Prithvi? He says, Yam Vedihi Parontaha Prithivyaha. Again, quotes from Rigveda. Parontaha is Shreshta Swabhavaha. Paraha is Shreshta and Antaha here is Swabhavaha. The Tikakara explains that. Prithivya Parontaha Paraha Swabhavaha Aparam Rupam Ityarthaha. And this iti mantra varnat, he quotes from Rigveda mantra, says that Vedihi iti prithivyaha, on the earth. So everything on the earth, everything in the Akasha, everything in the Antariksha, everything in Agni and all its components, everything on the earth. And Atithihi, he gives two meanings. One is Soma. What is Soma? There are a lot of different meanings. As of today, there are people still arguing that Soma is an intoxicating liquid, some rasa. But there's no agreement on that, okay? There are people who will argue that what your Shastra says, you have Soma, and then you tell me Suram na pibet. How can you contradict yourself? But Soma has many meanings. One of the more common meanings is some kind of a creeper, lata. Although I have not seen any definitive answer to this. It is, Soma is also called Chandrama, incidentally. The moon is called Soma. And there is some offering made during Yajna, it's also called Soma. I don't know what kind of offering it is. Another meaning for Soma is Brahmananda. That which gives you Brahmananda. Only people who are connoisseurs of single malt, they will tell you, this is Soma. But we don't know what it is. But obviously some liquid which has to be contained in a vessel. That vessel which contains the Soma, which is offered in the Yajna, is the one that's called Durona. So Durona Sat. That Soma, I'm not sure how to interpret this in the sense that if you don't know what Soma is, how are you going to say what is it that the Shastra is trying to say? Maybe one can interpret it saying that everything that is drinkable. I don't know. But the other commonly understood meaning of Atithi is a guest. And guests typically should arrive without any prior appointment. That is not done changed completely these days. You don't go to anybody's without an appointment, without prior fixing up. Very different from the time of the Shastras. And if you take that meaning, then you know Brahmana, they used to wander and they'll get bhiksha wherever they go. And remember, the Brahmana is not Brahmana by birth. He's a Brahmana by either guna or karma. And to feed a Brahmana, even today it's considered great punyakarya. There are sannyasis who keep walking, who never stop at a place for more than 3 days. People feel proud to go and feed them wherever they are because it's considered a great punya karma. In fact, many people, I believe, used to wait for an atithi to come to feed the atithi before they will eat. If you take it in that meaning, all the atithis who come to your house, so there, Drona Sati would mean home. Bhashyakara says, Brahmano atitihi somaha sanna durone kalashe sidati iti durona sat. That which is in the kalash. Therefore, I'm thinking that all drinkables. Other meaning he says is, Brahmanaha atiti rupena. Wow. Alternately, you can think of it as Atiti Rupena Brahmanaha Duroneshu. Here, Durona if you take Durona general meaning as a container, one could take it as a griheshu, in the home, in your home. Sidati iti. So the one who comes to your home as Atithi is also Atma, Brahman. Now, there are many stories in which people pray to Bhagavan saying that, I have not been able to see you, you're not blessing me, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody comes and a haggard old man, sometimes they feed him and look after him and all that as Atithi. And suddenly that old man turns out to be Bhagavan. There are many such stories in the Puranas, not only in our Puranas, but also in many stories in every religion. And somewhere they will drive him away and then regret it because they realize later that the one who came was Bhagavan in whatever form. So, Atitihi Somasanna Durone Kalashe Sidati iti Durona Sat, or Brahmana Atithi Rupena Va Duroneshu Griheshu Sidati iti Durona Sat. So, up to this point, it is, like I said, in the form of something in something, which means everything that is contained in that. Up to this. So, Shuchishat, Hamsaha Shuchishat, Vasuhu Antarikshasat, Hota Vedishat, Atitihi Duronasat is one category if you want. Then he says, all human beings, Drishat, all human beings. Bhashyakara says, Drishat, Drishuhu Manushyeshu Sidati iti Drishat. In every human being is the same Atma. It is not different Atmas, and one in your Sharira and another in somebody else's Sharira. What about Devatas? Do they have a separate Atma? There also it rejects and says, Varasat, Vareshu, Deveshu, Sidati iti. What? That is same Atma also in every Devata. You are no different from a Devata. As presiding deities. Remember, our understanding of Ishvara has to be very clear. Starting with Brahman, formless, propertyless, akarya, everything we know, we also imagine an Ishvara, which is exactly the same. Nirguna Ishvara, Nirakara Ishvara. But to that Ishvara, we add an imaginary Maya. That is how we distinguish Brahman from Paramatma. You will see this word being used interchangeably everywhere. Paramatma is Brahman, Brahman is Paramatma. How? Only by this understanding through the process of not considering the obvious differences, putting them aside and looking at what is the real nature of Ishvara, from Brahman. And that Ishvara, to whom we have given a certain property of Sarvajñatvam, Sarvashaktimatvam, etc., in turn, again, for our ease, to rather than pray to that Ishvara, which is again formless, we have given our own forms and stories for various types of devatas. And each devata is the speciality in a particular area, particular function. And stories to enhance their our ability to imagine them. All those devatas are not different from Manushya, except for the fact that they are exalted. They are born out of predominantly Punya Karma. Therefore, Devatas. Therefore, it says, Varasat, Vareshu. The word Vara itself has many meanings. One of them is Devata. Deveshu, Sidati iti. What Manusheshu Sideti, Deveshu Sideti, same Atma. And the next is Ritasat. Ritasat, Ritam again has many meanings. One meaning for that which we have seen is Vyavaharika Satyam is also called Ritam. A relative Satyam is also called Ritam. So Ritasat would mean Satyam or Ritam also Yajna. Satyam meaning Vyavaharika Satyam Athava Yajna. So Yajnauva. Tasmin Sidayati. In every Yajna, in everything in this Jagat which is Vyavaharika Satyam is only that Ishvara. As Brahman. But can also look at a third meaning. Another thing that is called Ritam, because it is never fails, Satyam Bhavi, is Karma Phala. Every karma must produce Karma Phala. There is no change in that. So that is also called Ritam. So in every Karma Phala connected to a karma, Adrishta is also the same Atma in the form of the order of karma. Everything is only the same order. So whether you take it as Ritam Satyam or Ritam Yajna or Ritam Karma Phala, everything is nothing but Atma. Tasmin Sidati iti. Whatever is there in that, in the Vyavaharika Satyam, in the form of order, in the karma order, or in all the rituals, everything is only one Atma. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnav, Brahmanahutam. Everything is only one Brahman. Vyomasat. Vyoma is the entire cosmos. Vyomni. Vyomni Akashe Sidati iti Vyomasat. Everything in that, in the entire cosmos, planets, galaxies, the space in between, everything is only that one Atma. So it tries to cover the entire gamut of things and say they're all only Atma. There's no question of any doubt about there being a multiple Atma. We've already seen wherever Nanatvam is seen, there's a problem. Wherever Nanatvam is seen, samsara. Wherever you're able to see in and through all that variety, only that one Atma, there is a good possibility that we'll understand the truth of Atma, Ekameva Advitiya Atma. Right. Up to this is Rishat, Varasat, Ritasat, Vyomasat is everything in each of these. Now we come to the third category. What is the third category? Ja, born of. Everything born of something. We'll read that. Abja,
Bija,
Apsu,
Apsu,
Shanka, Shukti, Makaradi Rupena,
Shankha, Shukti, Makaradi, Rupena,
Jayate iti,
Jayata iti,
Goja, Gavi,
Goja, Gavi,
Prithivyam
Prithvivyam
Vrihi Yavadi Rupena
Vrihi Yavadi Rupena
Jayate Iti
Jayate iti
Ritajaha
Ritajaha
Yajnangya Rupena Jayate Iti
Yajna Rupena Jayate iti
Adrijaha
Adrijaha
Parvatebhyo Nadyadi Rupena Jayate Iti.
Parvatebhyo Nadyadi Rupena Jayate iti.
So here also you have Abjaha, Gojaha, Ritajaha, Adrijaha. All of them, Jaha, Jaha, all of them from which something is born, whatever is born. So Abjaha, Ab, is water. So he says Abjaha, Apsu, from water, of what? Saptami is actually in the water. Shanka Shuchi Makaradi Rupena Jayateti. Everything that comes from water. We'll give a few examples. Like what? Shankha, conch. And every form of, they're all animal, water animal skeletons, no? They left over from millions of years. Many things are there. Apsu, Shankaha, Shuktihi, mother of pearl. That's also born of, processed over millions of years. In the sea, pearls, everything comes under this only. Makaradi, all the fishes and all the reptiles that we find in the waters. So all that is born of or in the waters. So you see, those are Abjaha. All of them are nothing but the same Atma. Therefore, Abjaha, Apsu, Shanka, Shukti, Makaradi, Rupena, Jayateti. Comes out in these forms. And in any other form when it comes out is included. It's nothing but the same Atma. Earlier, when we did that first lot, we had Akasha, Vayu, Agni and Prithvi. Here is also talked about water. There he gave examples of saying such and such in Akasha, such and such in Antariksha, etc. Here he is saying what is born of all the waters. Similarly, Gojaha. Go Shabda again has many meanings. Most common meaning is cow. But here, Bhashikara interprets it as Prithivyam, from the Prithvi, in the Prithvi. What comes out of the Prithvi? All kinds of plants and trees and so on. So every plant, tree, herb, everything is included in this. So he gives some examples. Gojaha, Gavi, Prithivyam. What are the ones examples? Vrihi, Yavadi Rupena Jayata. Vrihi is rice. All forms of rice. Yava is barley. So Vrihi, Yava, Adi. All those things, therefore in all of them you will find the previous one also Apsu, Shanka, Shuktihi, Makara, Adi. And all else. Similarly here, Vrihi, Yava, Adi Rupena Jayata iti. Water born on the earth. In waters on the earth. Then the next one is Ritajaha. Now in any yajna, Ritam here is yajnam, born of yajna, yajnanga rupena jayati. Yajna anga rupena jayati. All the things that are there in the yajna. All the accessory used in the yajna, the Yajamana himself, the priest also, Ritvik, all the accessories used, the fire, the samagri, various types of samagri, the ladle used to pour the ghee itself, everything used in the yajna is also nothing but that Brahman, Atma. It makes it amply clear. The Shastra makes it very, very clear that there cannot be a second. Okay? Yajna. And it's covered water, it's covered the earth, and it's covered yajna. Shastra now takes up Adrijaha, born from the mountains. Here, Bhashyakara says, Agrijaha parvatebhyaha nadyadi rupena jayata iti. That which comes down from the mountain in the form of various nadis and rivers and things like that are also nothing but that Atma. One of the reasons why we can safely worship anything is because everything is nothing but the Atma, which you see as Ishvara. I have told you earlier, every ancient religion, every traditional, which have all been killed, whether it is the Aborigines in Australia, or the Incas or the Mayans, or any of the other ones which don't exist anymore, they all did the same thing. They worshipped everything, like we do. The concept is the same. Everything is Ishvara. There's nothing but Ishvara. There is really nothing but Brahman, but we have to get there. No? We have to graduate to understanding that. So till then, everything is Ishvara. So with that, the three categories we've completed. Gojaha, Ritajaha, Adrijaha, and then we've got one nice little word there, sentence there, not sentence, two words. Ritam Brihat. All this is nothing but the infinite reality. Ritam Brihat. Brihat comes from the Brih Dhatu, meaning something which is Vriddhav, is very big. That's why you have, in all these municipalities, they have Brihat Mumbai or Brihat Bangalore, the bigger part of that. So Bhashyakara sums all this up and says, Sarvatmapi.
Sarvatmapi.
I read it. Sarvatmapi san.
Sarvatmapi san.
Ritam.
Ritam.
Avitatha svabhava eva.
Antaka swabhava eva.
Brihan mahan.
Mahan.
Sarvakaranatvat.
Sarvakaranatvat.
Adityasya angikritatvat.
Adityasya angikritatvat.
No, I missed one sentence, I think. Karanatvat, yeah. Yada api aditya eva.
Yada api aditya
Mantrenocyate.
Mantrenocyate.
Tadapi
Tadapi.
asya atmaswarupatvam.
Tasya atmaswarupastvam.
Adityasya angikritatvat.
Adityasya angikritatvat.
Brahmana vyakhyane.
Brahmana vakyane.
Vakyane api avirodha.
Avirodha.
He sums it by saying, Sarvatma api san ritam avitatha svabhava eva. This one Atma, which is everything, of everything is that Atma. Sarvasya Atma api sanna, although it is the Atma of everything, it is only one Atma. It is Ritam. Ritam here is the absolute truth. Ritam, because he clarifies by saying, Avitata Swabhava eva. Avitata is an interesting word again. We often say tatha, thus, as it is, tatha. That itself, with the yat, becomes tatya. Tatya means that which is not subject to change. That is satyam. Now you already have derived yathya. You add a y before that, it becomes negation. So tatya is absolute truth. Vaitatya is that which is subject to change. Here, what is the word he using? He uses the word, where is that gone? Avitatha. Vitatha now becomes that which changes. It's a negative. Avitatha becomes a negative, double negative. That doesn't change. Avitata Swarupa. Avitata Swabhava. That is the own Satyam. That Atma is the one Satyam. It is the Atma of everything. So this one sentence clears up all the possible doubts that one might have about saying, are there many Atmas? First is our Nachiketa's thing, is there something at all? Vichikitsa was there. Said, yes, there is, called Atma, and there's only one. Unchanging Atma. That's the nature. So now all this we're trying to understand is the nature of that which survives the body. So avitata svabhava eva. It is Ritam. And it is the Atma of everything. Sarvatma api sanna Ritam avitata svabhava eva. Of nature of unchanging, avikara. All the other negatives, avayava, all of those negatives we use for that. And because this is the as though karanam for everything, that's why he said everything is only this Atma. All that whole bhashya so far, everything is only this Atma, and therefore it is the karanam for everything. And all karya is non-separate, non-different from the karanam. So it's called Brihat. Here Brihat should be read as infinite, Mahan. That which is being the karanam for everything, known, unknown, near, far, tangible, intangible, everything, it is called Brihat. From where also Brahman comes. Mahan, that which is infinite. Everything has to come from them, it has to be infinite. Brihat, Mahan, Sarva Karanatva, being Sarvasya Karanam, it is also Brihat. Now, Bhashyakara takes one or two sentences to talk about something interesting. In the Karma Kanda, there is a portion where similar mantra is there, where it talks about the sun being everything. Sun is everything. So there can be a little confusion, especially people who are followers of Karma Kanda, there can be a confusion. Is that correct or is this correct? What should be interpreted as? So mantra, the Bhashyakara clarifies it. Sarvatma api san ritam. This we've seen, Sarvakaranatvat. Okay. We have not read this, right? Okay. Yadapyaditya.
Dabhyaditya.
Yadapaditya eva. Should I have together? Yadapaditya eva.
Prapaditya eva.
Mantrena uchyate.
Mantrena uchyate.
Tadapi.
Tadapi.
Asya atmaswarupatvam.
Swarupatvam.
Adityasya angikritatvat. Brahmana vyakhyane.
Brahmana vyakyane.
Brahmana vyakhyane api avirodha.
Brahmana vyakyane api avirodha.
Don't get confused with the word Brahmana here. It only talks about the Brahmana portion of the Veda. Because this is also appearing in a similar fashion, Yada api aditya eva mantrena uchyate. In that Brahmana mantra, Aditya, Surya is said to be the same way. Everything is only Surya. So they don't get confused, he says. Aditya eva mantrena uchyate tadapi. Even then, asya atmaswarupatvam adisyasya angikritatvat. It is accepted. Karmakanda says so, but we also look at, like I said, the sun as that which destroys avidya, destroys darkness. So, adityasya angikritatvat brahmana vyakhyane api avirodha. There is no contradiction. So, people who have read, we have not read the Karmakanda, we don't know, but we accept what Bhashyakara says, that in Karmakanda, the Surya Bhagavan is given the same status of being everything. And that is also is okay. It is not contrary to what it is saying. You only have to understand it correctly. So, Aditya Sangikritatvad Brahmana Vyakhyane api avirodha. It is not opposed to what is said in the Brahmana. Like I said, sun is often referred to as Atma, that which makes everything is born of, sustained by, and eventually dries up because of the cosmic rays of the sun. So in that sense also it is seen as the same. There is no contradiction there. Because we know that as a pramana, there cannot be a contradiction within the Shastra itself. There can be apparent contradiction between the Shastra and, let's say, a Smriti or a Purana. But in such a case, we have to only understand the thing that the root Satyam is Shastra. So it's different, not very difficult to understand that what appears in the Puranas or Ityasa or Smriti is only a retelling for a certain purpose. But here, one might start wondering if Purupakshi comes up with saying your Karmakanda is saying different, you're saying different. He says there's no Virodha. So again, the last sentence really sums up what is trying to say in this mantra. Sarvathapi Eka eva Atma Jagatah Natma Bheda iti mantrarthah Atma Bheda Nasti. There is no Veda. There is no second. Therefore, there is no question of there being any Veda. There is only one Atma. Sarvatapi eka eva Atma Jagatah. Of this Jagat, which includes everything. Includes we can see, we cannot see, includes which you can only guess at, conjecture. Not just the Earth, not just the solar system, not just the Milky Way galaxy. Everything is included in the word Jagat. So Jagatah, of this Jagat, there is only one Atma for everything. We keep giving examples from within this. There is only one Atma for all clay products. It's only clay. This looks different, this has a different name, this has a different size, this has a different shape, but the Atma for all of them is, but within the universe of clay products. Similarly, gold is an example. Within the universe of gold ornaments, so many different ornaments are there of different names, different sizes, different utilities, different values, different weights, different everything. But the Atma for all of them is only gold. But when you look at the whole Jagat, this variation within the gold, we can see, okay, these are all things, but you can easily see there's only gold. But if you, okay, let's take another example. It is a gold and silver shop and platinum, his fellow says. He's got gold products, silver products, platinum products, everything. Each one has its own Atma. All the gold ornaments have one Atma. All the silver ornaments have one Atma. All the platinum ornaments have one Atma. But of all of them, there's only one Atma. Everything in this entire Jagat, there's only one Atma. Sarvata api eka eva Atma Jagataha. There is only one Atma. Na Atma Bedha Ityartha. This is the meaning of this mantra. What the mantra is trying to tell us is, don't go imagining Nanatvam. There is no Nanatvam. There is only one Atma, and you should be able to see, like you're able to see in and through every gold ornament, you're able to see gold. You should be able to see gold. Here, in and through everything, tangible and intangible, every thought, every feeling, every emotion, there is only one Atma, which sustains everything. Without that Atma, there is nothing. And then we have to understand that Atma is I. What a beautiful thing. We will continue tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam
Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate
Om Shanti
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 Harihi
Harihi
Om
Om Shri
Namaha
Gurubhyo Namaha
Harihi
Harihi Om
Thank you.
Namaskara Dhanyavadaha
Namaskara.